Something that tastes like water, has 95% calories, and 2.5 grams of carbohydrates. Michelob Ultra.
Classy.
Shouldn't be called a beer. This is basically the next seltzer water. That's basically what it is. If you want to.
Well, if you're going to make it that, yeah.
Except it doesn't taste as good as a seltzer water. That's the problem.
Like not as flavorful.
No, it tastes like, imagine you have a full flavored beer and somebody said, hey, can we split that 4 ways? So you pour it in a cup and you dilute it because like you're like 5 years old, so you don't want to overhyphenate your child. So you dilute like apple juice with
a beer.
That's what that is. That it tastes like 4 people split a beer and they diluted it with water. That's what it tastes like. And why am I drinking it? Because it doesn't upset my tummy.
We're old.
Because being 33 in a week is it's just downhill. It's just downhill from here.
We're old.
It doesn't affect you though.
Yeah, it does. Me?
Well, yeah, bad food affects you. But I have a theory about bad food. Do you agree?
Like if I have a beer or cider.
You don't drink beer.
I don't drink beer, but every once in a while I'll have cider, and it's the same thing.
Are you done with cider? I didn't know you were done with cider.
It makes my stomach hurt.
You were gonna say the F word, huh?
Makes me wanna.
No.
Oh.
I thought you were gonna be like, it F's me up, you know. And I was like, whoa.
Did she really say that on a family-friendly podcast?
Yeah, we're super family.
It really does upset my stomach though, especially this last weekend when we were up in McCall, and the only thing that they had on tap was beer. Because it was like the rooftop bar, and all they had was beer or a cider. And so I got a cider, and I was like, ugh. I couldn't even like finish my dinner because it's so heavy.
You're officially this is news to me. We've never had this conversation.
I don't know if I'm done, but I'm just saying like it really does affect me.
Yeah.
Negatively. Just like beer does. It's the same thing.
Well, it makes 100% sense. It's news to me because I keep going on and on sharing with you, like, what are these small little subtle attributes that are happening, like the change of getting old. And to me, it was like, first, like, I can't drink beer. It's too heavy. And that happened when I first got on the keto, like 2 years ago, maybe almost 3 now. And then after that, it's like still beer introducing, and and I don't have bad food, and that would mess my stomach up as well. Okay, then it's don't eat before bed. Okay, I kind of get it. Spoke to other kind of people, and they're like, yeah, same with me. And then you're like, oh, okay, now it's like you can't have alcohol too close to bedtime because daddy's not sleeping now. You know what I mean? Daddy's not going into the REM cycle.
Yep.
But you've never shared anything with me. For 9 years of marriage, we've coming up here on the 17th. Shout out to 9 years right there.
Woo.
And still banging like we're rabbits.
Tell
me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell the people.
I mean, it was the last time, like 15 minutes ago.
Wow. Whoa. I thought you were going to keep it subtle, but wow, you're just going to throw a timestamp on there.
Well, the people want to know.
Well, they'll never know when we recorded this.
That's true.
Yeah, it's true.
They're going to go back.
Yeah.
When was this recorded?
Somebody will do that thing, they'll do like, they'll hang like a bulletin board, and they'll hang all these pictures, and they'll tie a string from one thing to another and try to break the case. When did they bang? No, but so I knew that with you, where it's like you couldn't have bad food for 9 years that we've been married. Day one, you always had a very sensitive stomach. I always pride myself for having this like bottomless pit that you can throw anything in.
You did for a long time.
And anything would happen. And then what else changed with you? Well, I think you cleaned up your diet. Not that you were eating bad, but you cleaned up certain irritants like breads and cheeses and a few dairy and inflammatory markers like that.
Yeah.
And that helped a lot. It didn't make you 100%, but it definitely helped a lot.
Yeah, I feel like I don't complain. I mean, every once in a while, like last night, I had like a weird stomach pain, but it's maybe like how often? Not even once a week.
It's very rare.
Yeah.
It's super rare. But it was originally, when we first got married, it was quite a bit.
It was like almost every day.
Yeah, but we didn't know. But we were like, so we started cutting stuff out.
We were eating like pasta and
we're eating like we're
cheese
16
and
again.
Sour cream with everything and milk and yogurt. Yeah.
We're eating like we're 16 again. And so we're finally realizing. So now it wasn't until like we started the summer real strong, on the boat. So we would pack it, not beers. We'll bring Trulies. And I was like, oh, this stuff sucks.
We would bring cider every once in a while.
And then you bring cider. And we enjoy the cider a lot. But this is absolute breaking news to me, knowing that you're anti-cider now, that it upsets your stomach.
I'm sure I'll drink it every once in a while, but it's more like
You have like one.
Yeah. Ever.
Ever.
I'll just have one.
It's like
one
as often
last
as I
time.
drink like Coke. Like
Yeah.
I drink soda
Like twice a year.
twice a year. I'll go
Same.
to Chick-fil-A twice a year and I'll have a soda twice a
Yeah.
year with that burger.
I think that's how
sandwich.
probably cider is for me. It's like on occasion, a birthday party or something
Yeah,
where
yeah.
that's all they have or something.
Yeah.
But if I choose, I think now like every 30 to 40-year-old is drinking Trulies. So like you don't feel weird about it anymore. Versus I feel like before people that were like drinking White Claw and Trulies were people just kind of like smirk at them.
Well,
oh, you're one of those people.
Well, as a guy, it would be different interpreting this. You'd have too many mixed signals because the Trulies were marketed and the White Claws were marketed as. In fact, I'm willing to go on record to argue that the White Claws came out first. Maybe I'm wrong.
I think so.
But I at least
They
heard
were more popular, at least for a lot.
they
in
hit
the
my
beginning.
radar. Right?
Yeah.
I had buddies that would be like, "There's no law when you have the claw." Like all this stupid
it was
stuff.
It was
bunch of
more
40-year-olds saying that.
popular.
But here's the thing: as a guy, you get mixed signals because you're going to, let's say, the beach, camping on a boat. It's a hot summer day, the pool, and the girls are drinking Trulies or White Claws, and you're like, okay, so is that only specifically because they're trying to watch their calories and they're trying to have a great time? But as a guy, you don't know if it's a caloric thing only. You just think it's only a caloric thing only. But it turns out like the girls are having the problems with the stomach as well. But then it wasn't until this summer that a bunch of my college buddies flew over. Well, I was in college when they were already done with college. They're already established. But they took care of me very well. About 6 guys that were just really near and dear to my heart. Worked for Microsoft, all of them, and they helped a broke college kid still hang with them. And they flew me to Vegas. They paid for my very first tattoo.
Yeah.
So it's a
And
couple
your
of
whole
guys.
trip.
Yeah, Yev and Nas and
Alex
Dan
is giving you guys a
and
shout
Mike
out. Better
and
be listening.
all these guys, they all took care of me. So like they're making great money already established, and they took me to Vegas. They took me to steak night. So they had this thing like. We used to do like Thursday night awesomeness. This is actually swaying way far away from the topic here, but we'll get back to it. I promise we'll circle back. We used to do Thursday night awesomeness in Seattle. So every Thursday at 8 o'clock, we'd go to Applebee's, the same Applebee's, and we'd have beers and appetizers. And every single Thursday. Now, when I did
2 for $20, you know what
I
I'm
did it
saying?
with them for like maybe 4 years. They did it before I joined the group for another like 4 years before that. And so now that we moved away, like, I mean, they're still at it. Like this thing has been like at its thing for the last almost, what is that? So 18 years, 17 years, maybe, still going strong. And so they came into town here to Idaho from Seattle, and I gave them a weekend, a great weekend. Took them to the cabin, took them boating. We went out, and I want to make sure I took care of them this time. And and what was funny is like we went to the store just like anybody like rents a cabin or goes to like a vacation property. Everybody goes to the store and everybody throws in the cart like
what
are we
they
gonna
want
have for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner, because everything's gonna be a communal kind of share. We just all split the bill. And when we hit up the booze aisle, it was hilarious because I kind of want to feel out what these guys are doing because I'm actually the youngest one.
You haven't hung out with them in a while too, so you don't know what they're drinking.
Right, I don't know what they're drinking. I haven't hung out with them for a while. They are a few years older than me, so I'm probably 3 to 4 years behind them.
Mm-hmm.
On average, 3. And we're kind of up there, and so all of a sudden, like, one guy gets a Truly. He goes, "Oh, we should get this one Truly." And I was like, "Let's see for beer." And he's looking, and we used to drink IPAs at Applebee's. That's what we used to drink. And nobody's touching IPAs anymore. And I was like, "Hey, if we want to get a beer, we get Modelo's. They're nice and light. We can get that, and they're easy on the stomach." That's the key selling word. They're easy on the stomach.
Easy on the stomach.
And then, like, he gets that, you know. And of course, me being a responsible 30-year-old is like, guess what? I'm never gonna have a hangover. So I was like, I'm gonna go get an Armor drink, the packed with sodium and potassium and electrolytes, and have that. And our first night there, lo and behold, everybody kind of goes a little bit hard, but not too hard, because I mean, these guys, you know, they're dads and they're put together. And I have a system. We're done by 7. We drink water, and then right before bed, we drink either liquid IV or we drink an Armor drink if we're not by the house. And I woke up feeling refreshed. These guys are just like, well, one of the guys was like miserable, and so it was like a prime
Trulies?
awake. Well, yeah, Trulies, yeah. Well, it was Truly's, a little bit of Modelo, and then every once in a while we'll do a quick shot of tequila. Just every once in a while. It was. But the thing is, like with me, I'm like, let's do during the day, and then once we hit 7, from that point on, before bed, we just hydrate. And these guys, they're like not doing it during the day. They go and we start playing poker in the evening, and then they'll go after it, and then it's too late to hydrate. Like you're
done.
The bus is gone. But anywho, we learn these lessons. Like we're in our mid-30s. Like you can't do these kind of things, and so it was a big test that I kind of did, where it's like, okay, so I'm in Idaho, these guys are in Seattle. Are 30-year-olds in Seattle doing what 30-year-olds in Idaho are doing? And apparently they are.
It's across the board.
And so I'm actually very, very happy that you now have not like I have a sensitive stomach that just whatever, an allergy or whatever. You actually have a legit, hey, I'm approaching not mid-30s, but you're approaching mid-30s.
How dare you?
You're not close to that line yet. You're not even 33 yet.
I'll never be in my mid-30s.
Yeah, you'll just go backwards. You're like the Benjamin Button.
Yep, aging backwards.
And so to me, it actually makes me really happy to be like, oh, I'm not the only one doing this. Like, I'm already complaining about knee pain.
Oh, knees, ankles.
Do yours hurt?
Yeah, when I run. And then my
that's
ankles.
from your shoes. That's what you've had that
No, my
earlier.
knees, I get like knee pain, and then like the IT.
That's from running, the IT band.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me ask you this. Have you ever, let's say, slept away from your bedroom or from your bed? So you were, let's say, at the cabin with the girls. Have you ever had this where you slept not at your house, and then in the morning, like you did a girls' weekend, and in the morning you feel like you need to like stretch your back, stretch your ankles, stretch your
I feel like the most pain I get is my neck. If I sleep wrong and in a different bed than ours, I get neck pain.
Okay, so you do get
something. But also I'm very creaky. Like I have my wrist like cracks, and then my
That's
ankle.
my ankle. Your ankle does that too.
My right ankle.
But yours doesn't do it when you walk.
Yes, it does.
Does it?
Every time I run and I don't have music on or anything, you can hear my ankle cracking. It's pretty loud.
Have you ever heard my ankle crack when I walk? Oh my gosh! So when I was still working at the hospital,
but I've had it since I was like 10, so it's been a long time.
Do you know what happened?
I think it's from spraining my ankle, but I can't remember. I remember there was one time when I was like 9 or 10, and we were jumping the trampoline, and somebody like jumped on my foot, and I like twisted my ankle.
So sprain, yeah, for sure.
But I don't remember if it was from that, because I can't remember which ankle it was. It had to have been from something, because if it's that early on in my childhood, it had to have been from something, but I can't.
You know what's interesting? You've actually unlocked more in that statement, because I've never heard of this story from you. You've unlocked more in that statement because than a medical practitioner has. So back again when I was in the hospital, we would be in cahoots with a lot of people in different trades, right? What are they? There's another word for it, but anyway, people that are in different specialties.
Right.
I was respiratory. And I had some friends that were in physical therapy, and they had their doctorate's degree, like they were like high up in the food chain. And I was like, hey, I have food chain, right? I was like, hey, listen, I have this weird click that happens every time I walk, and you could really, if I'm wearing sneakers and we're just walking through a quiet hallway, you'll hear it.
So mine is.
And it doesn't hurt, doesn't bother me, doesn't irritate me. It just makes this annoying sound where it's like, if I wanted to sneak out of the house and I'm 16 again, I could. Do you know what I mean? And they were like examining. Now, we never got x-rays, but like they were examining. They're putting pressure on it. They could not figure it out. They got another person into it. They couldn't figure it out. And then you told me this story.
I'm surprised they don't go back and be like, did you get hurt at one point?
Well, that's what the question.
Something didn't realign.
Did you recently get hurt? And I was like, listen, when I was, and this is where it relates to where you rolled your ankle. When I was between the ages of 16 and 18, maybe even 19, I rolled my ankle, 15 to 19, I rolled my ankle so many times. I specifically remember going.
You're just growing?
I don't know what makes it do it. I specifically going to the beach, and I was barefoot. And we were walking. You know how the beach will have these, not like a the part where the water gets on and it's flat, but like the little bumpy parts, you know. And I'd be walking, and I swear, I specifically remember going to Ocean Shores and rolling my ankles like twice in one day.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I kept rolling, and it wasn't until I went to my first chiropractor visit because I tweaked my back maybe a year or two ago. And they did this full function test where they have you like stand, lift one leg up in the air, close your eyes, and count to whatever. And it's like a test to see how long you can stand. There's an average number, which it's usually close to a minute. I couldn't stand more than like 6 seconds.
Really?
And I just lost my balance. And they're like, that's not healthy. Like, what happened? I go, I don't know. I used to roll my ankles a lot. And they're like, well, what happens with that ankle roll is the small nerve endings from your feet to your brain's balance system. I think it's hypothalamus. I don't know. Hypothalamus regulates the body temperature, but maybe also balance. But I might be wrong. But they're like, you.
I think you're wrong.
You damage some of the nerve endings. So, like, you have to almost, like, retrain your body. And I was like, F that. Like, what do I really... When is somebody going to hold a gun in my head and be like, hey, stand on one foot, close your eyes, and you better hit 60 Mississippis. Or else I'm blowing your brains out. Like, I'm never going to be in that situation. Yeah. So I was like, screw you. And
I think it's more for, like, it's good to have good balance for, I don't know, daily things.
I think now I have pretty good balance. I can wake surf, so that's cool.
That's true.
Yeah.
Can you ride a bike?
Well, what does balance have to do with that? It's just pedaling forward. You pedal, and that keeps
you balance.
No, you balance if your feet can't touch the ground. But if you're flat-footed and then you start pedaling, the inertia kicks in.
I'm talking about. No, then how come it takes kids so long to learn to ride a bike?
Because they can't touch the ground.
Yeah.
And they don't know how to keep momentum going.
Whatever, it's balance.
Listen, you and I can get in on one of those giant wheels.
It's balance because why is it so much harder to do it with one hand?
So you actually tell me you're.
I mean, you get used to it.
No, that's not balance. That's coordination.
Whatever.
If you're riding your bike already at a particular speed and you let go of one hand, that is not balance.
If you're going really slow, then you have to
balance. The reason I know it's not balance is because on a motorcycle, you can let a motorcycle go 5 miles an hour and it will keep standing upright. That's why we used to do these stupid stunt tricks.
Tires are thicker.
You'd still have but you would still only have about this much, 4 inches of actually ground contact. We would stand on top of the seats or the gas tanks while the bike is riding. Like,
I don't like hearing that.
I don't like hearing that either because there's this part of me that I go, did I really do dumb things like that? But with kids, it's just.
So you found out the clicking is from something?
I just found out because the story that you just shared with me. I was like, which is basically
piggybacking off.
We just did a forensics thing.
Yeah, seriously.
The Mosby boys are on the case. Also, if you recognize the reference, the Mosby boys. Mosby boys are on the case. You get an extra shout out as a fan, and write in the comments where that's from because that's very specific. The Mosby boys are on the case. Yes. Solving the case of the missing retainer. It was in the trash the whole time.
It was in the trash the whole time.
Yeah, so that's how...
Man, we're getting old. We're going to have to title this, We're Getting Old.
I think we have one titled something about Father Time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to have to call this one like...
Part 2?
Eating like we're 16 again.
Yeah. Oh, man. It's true, though. I feel like even food-wise, the minute we eat something bad, it's like, you regret it immediately.
And here's the thing. It's not even the minute you eat something bad with me. I specifically remember, which this day will go in the history of like a very monumental day that that motivates me to kind of change the way I treat my body. And it was only last week.
It was like 4 days ago.
It was like 5 days at most. And it was actually on Tuesday, so yeah, it was like 4 days ago. It was 3 days ago, and it was the worst day of my life when it came to like health and food. And here's what happened: I typically I intermittent fast every single day. I'll skip breakfast, I'll skip lunch, and then I will have like a little bit of cheese, a little bit of almonds, and some raisin pack. One of those protein pack things at like 3 o'clock when we're done filming. Mm-hmm. And that'll set me off or hold me off till about dinner time. And we usually pretty clean for dinner, some kind of meat, some kind of salad, right? I avoid starchy carbs. We'll have cheat meals every once in a while. Anywho, so I ended up having a hangout with a buddy. We went to go shoot some bows, get my bow dialed in. So I missed dinner. And I was heading home. And I was in that just after dinner thing, and it's still not too late to eat food. And I think I came home like 8 o'clock ish.
Yeah.
Maybe. And I was like, oh man, I didn't eat. And you're like, go have some food right now. And I was like, oh, I don't want it to upset my stomach. She's like, well, just don't eat anything bad. And I was like, okay. So I go in the kitchen and I make my own charcuterie board. And again, because you've skipped, like you never actually had a full big meal, your stomach is bigger than your eyes basically at that point. Is that what the saying is? Your stomach is,
your
or your eyes are bigger
than your stomach?
Oh, okay. So you can.
Because you want more than you can actually eat.
I gotcha. So my eyes are bigger than my stomach. So I
mean, technically, your stomach is bigger than your eyes.
But yes, medically, yes, medically it is. But in this scenario, yeah, but physically, yes. And so in this situation, I was like, okay, I got this cutting board out, and I was like, boom, some Swiss cheese, throw that on there. Some roasted, pickled red peppers, throw that on there. Some hummus, threw that on there. Cucumbers, salted those bitches. You know what I mean? Throw that on there. Sorry.
Some pickled asparagus.
Pickled asparagus, I forgot about those. Threw those on there. And then
like
I want to say avocado.
Stuff.
Did I throw avocado?
Yeah, avocado.
Guac. I threw guac. Oh,
no,
avocado
and salmon.
And Costco raw salmon.
No, it was the salmon that I made.
Oh, it was the salmon you made. Okay.
So it was baked.
Yeah, it was baked salmon.
Leftovers.
Yeah. We get it. You cook.
I made salmon the night before just so everybody knows.
Over the kitchen. So I come into bed with this thing, and I was considerate, and I brought an extra fork because I was like, hey, I'm making a lot. Might as well. Because,
she always says no,
yes.
But she eats half your food.
Yeah, I'm going to bring some cheese, and then half the cheese is gone. So, like, I'm anticipating sharing, right? Yeah. It just kind of comes with the territory. Guys, you know this. Like, you'll be like, do you want anything? I'm ordering from, Jack in the Box. And she's like, no,
I'm good.
I'm good. No, not even fries? No, I think I'm good. And then guess who's eating all your fries? So get the double order of fries. So that's what I was doing. After 9 years of marriage, I knew that's what I needed to do. Like, just do this kind of thing. So I come over there.
Especially charcuterie. It's my love language.
But you didn't even partake as much. That's the problem.
Well, because I had...
You had 5% at most.
Yeah. But I also had a little bit of crackers and dip.
Okay.
Of my own.
But that's not the way I was reading it. The way I was reading it is like, it's Thanksgiving dinner, our family's not in town, and we want to eat clean.
We're going to eat clean, but good.
And
So your problem was, I bet if you would have just grazed a little bit, you would have been fine.
Hey, tell me what that is, because I don't know. My brain doesn't understand grazing. My brain constantly thinks my brain goes like this. There's not, and I don't know if this is an immigrant mindset, but it's like, there's not going to be enough alcohol. There's not going to be enough food. You better put it all down.
Eat and drink everything you can in a matter of 10 minutes.
And then when your stomach hurts, push that feeling down, suppress it, and have a few more bites.
It's like you go at 100 on, but you're like that with everything.
But that's 100 in effort, and I honest to God don't know if that's like something in my brain, because I can't do that with food. I can't really. I do it mediocrely with alcohol. Obviously, it keeps me out of trouble. But it's just in general, like like we kind of go like, I don't want to have that much. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like it's a weekday. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, pizza is the worst for me. Mm-hmm. Oh, pizza is the worst for me because I can't just
inhale it.
I can't just have two pieces
and sushi.
Of sushi.
Actually, you've gone better. You used to inhale sushi.
The reason I've gone better is because I used to order 3 rolls. And I remember, I always try to make myself go, remember this feeling. You don't like this feeling. So remember how sucky this feeling is. That's why this food story is so relevant to me. And so with sushi, it was enough times I go, hey, buddy, don't order 3 rolls. That's a lot of... Daddy doesn't eat that much rice. Daddy doesn't eat carbs that much. So guess what Daddy's doing?
And
Daddy's
you could save yourself $15.
Yeah, Daddy's just putting about a pot of rice down his stomach, and it's going to hurt. So... I've learned that I'd rather just order 2 rolls, be full, and then usually the boys or you won't finish a roll or 2, so I'll graze off of that. And I'm always 100% full. So, pizza's another thing. Had some pizza. Hey, Bubba, let's pull back a little bit, okay?
Maybe a couple slices, not
couple slices. We'll have a couple of slices. We'll have 2 slices, 3 slices. Okay, go chill out. I go chill out, come back. You know what sounds good right now? Cold pizza.
More pizza. 1 hour later, yeah.
Oh, but I specifically remember the boys, you were either out, you were the girls' weekend. One of the nights we ordered pizza. I ordered them a pizza. I ordered me a pizza because I was anticipating one of my buddies coming over to watch the fight. He couldn't make it. Plans changed, so I was like, okay, cool, it's just me with this pizza. Which I would have ordered the same exact pizza anyway. Right?
But you felt better knowing
But
somebody else was gonna eat.
knowing it's like, oh, I anticipated. Well, I can't let it go to waste.
Yeah.
I was legitimately stuffing. It was a 14-inch pizza, and I legitimately was stuffing myself so much that there was a point that I got that I was like, I need to throw. There's like only 2 remaining pieces. Like, throw this in the trash because I will eat this. And I had to walk into the trash, throw it, and ask me if the thought crossed my mind. Hey,
dig it out.
Should I go get it? Because maybe I only landed on a piece of cardboard and it's still fine. Because it's only yeah. So.
Did you?
No. I was really proud of myself that day.
Yeah. You have a.
Yeah.
You have a line and you didn't cross it.
I had a line. I was a man of integrity.
That was yeah.
And yeah, so that's so the people that kind of go, hey, I'll only have a slice, thank you.
I could do that.
That is mind-boggling to me.
I could do that.
But like, it's what is it in your brain that makes you go, I just want one, no matter how good it is?
I don't know. What's the word?
Self-control?
Self-control is the word I was looking for. I think, so for me, it wasn't always like that. I think it was actually a lot of it was learned because before I met you, I like struggled with weight and just being healthy, and I would eat just crap food all the time. And that's how I remember that feeling specifically is I would eat till I would feel like I wanted, like just that full feeling, like you can't move and you just are like, why did I eat so much? Mm-hmm. Why? But I remember specifically a lot of days where I would feel like that and eat to that point. And then when I kind of decided to lose weight and not feel like that anymore, I made this like conscious decision, and then I stopped. I kind of, and I didn't know this is what it was, but I started intermittent fasting without realizing that's what I was doing. It's
starving when you're 18.
No, it's 21.
When you're that young, it's called starving your body.
No, but I wasn't.
But if you're a guy, it's intermittent fasting.
No, but I wasn't like starving myself. I would just not eat after 6 p.m.
Uh-huh.
That was like dinner. I would eat,
which is normal people, right?
Which is yeah.
You have
and
dinner.
Then I wouldn't eat anything, and then not eat until like the next morning, like 9 a.m. Which
is not intermittent fasting.
Yes, it is.
It's
How
not
many
even
hours
starving.
Is that?
Well.
Yes, it is.
Well,
it's 12, 13, 14, 15 hours.
Well, they say intermittent fasting doesn't kick in
whatever.
until 16. So if you had held that for 1 more hour, your body would have gone into ketosis.
Yeah, whatever. I was intermittent fasting. So anyway, just started training my body to feel that full feeling like sooner, which is so weird to think about that I
anticipate
it. So I remember thinking, I'm gonna eat, but I have to eat before I feel full, because in the next 10 minutes I will feel full. So it's like you're anticipating that, like when it starts digesting kind of feeling.
I've only done that maybe twice in my life.
Did it work?
It did. And you know when I did it? It was when I was single. Hey, you're going to the pool today. There's going to be girls. Hey, Bubba, let's have a light breakfast because you're going to get full.
Just a light, yeah. But I do that, yeah. I think I do that a lot too. But that was kind of how I trained myself to just have that self-control of like, you don't need 5 cookies, maybe just 1.
You know, it's funny. So food is pleasure, right? 100% for the mouth. And what's interesting...
Pleasure for the mouth.
Pleasure for the mouth. Depends, or if you put it in through a different outlet, it's pleasure for that area as well.
Whatever your thing is.
What's interesting is food is pleasure, but in excess, it's a regretful feeling.
Mm-hmm. Which is like that for a lot of things. Right?
Yeah.
Alcohol.
Yeah. Alcohol for sure. Can you do that with sex? Like, oh no, do we have to do it 5 times? Oh, it hurts.
My checks, my body hurts.
Yeah, it could be.
I mean, I feel like everything, if it's just an 100%. Excess.
I just feel like that excess
too much of a good thing
is
a bad thing
when you make it the thing. But I guess where I'm going with this is I think food, you get to that limit so much quicker than anything else.
It is,
right?
Because you physically don't feel good.
Yeah, you physically don't.
Yeah, because sometimes the repercussion is different with each thing. Yeah. But with food, it's like immediate. That's why.
Yeah, right away. And it's funny because like, even if you're like, hey, we're gonna splurge and go have a really nice dinner, and you're like, I had a really nice dinner, but I ate too much of that really expensive thing. And it sucks, right? Because that thing's no longer special.
Want it, yeah.
I used to do that with sushi. It was like, this is a special thing. We can't have it that often. And then now we're having so much frequently, and then because I ate it so so much, like meaning like 3 rolls, and I was like, you're making this thing not special anymore. What do you? What
still be special?
We get oysters after this? Like, what are you doing, Bubba? Like, so.
You've said Bubba a lot.
I call myself Bubba. I call other people Bubba. I wonder if other people, like grown men,
are like, what the
I
heck?
go, will be like, I'm trying to remember when was the last time I did that. Oh, when the guys came into town, I did something like to help one of the guys out, like, oh, Alex, you don't have to pick it up. I'll pick it up myself. It was like, I got you, Bubba. And I was like, it was like emasculating to a guy.
They're like,
don't call me that.
Didn't we call one of the boys Bubba or Bubsy?
Beckham.
Beckham was Bubsy.
Beckham was Bubba. But Bubsy.
Bubs.
Yeah. All of it. Yeah, we call them all of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's I think what's nice is the older you get, your body naturally goes like, okay, so one of my buddies, he is 42. He's my hun buddy. Great guy. Ryan, you met him. He is an avid, like, ultra marathoner, like Ironman training, crazy hunter, just endurance athlete, right? Mm-hmm. During his lunch break at work, when I used to work with him at the hospital, he would go for like 5-mile runs for his lunch break. And, you know what I mean? And he still does that, like in 100 degree. He treats his body like this fighting machine. Wow. And he eats pretty clean as well, but he has grains, right? So like whole wheat bread, 9 grain, stuff like that. And we were just recently talking because we were getting the bear bait from our spring hunt, and he was telling me how he can't have beer anymore. He's like, it upsets my stomach too much. Well, we started talking about like certain, because Kyle, who works with me, he took like the 72 marker stomach sensitivity test.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
And he sent it in, and he's like, dude, turns out I'm sensitive to this, to this other thing. And I was like, so I recommended to my buddy Ryan, and he was going to look into it. And I was like, I really do think you're just sensitive to a lot of these things that's coming with age. And
as you get older, I think so.
And what he was saying, he was like, I don't get this. He's like, my uncles, my dad, like, they don't have these kind of problems. They eat anything. They eat pizza, they eat whatever. It doesn't bother them. And here's my theory behind it. And this is more fresh for you, and you could speak more about it, like the gut biome. I think is when you do truly treat your body better, like you eat cleaner. I remember this transition when I first used to consider myself like the bottomless pit, and then I remember I got into 5 weeks of keto, and I started learning from ketos like the stuff that you can or cannot eat, and then I realized what things were doing. Like I was putting carbohydrates in my body that would anticipate me running a marathon, but I wasn't running a marathon. So basically I'm putting jet fuel in the tank and I'm sitting. Mm-hmm. So I realized how food was being processed by my body, and short term, fast term. And I think what ends up happening, because I remember when I would eat like that, just really well, every time I would treat myself to a cheat meal once a week, I would feel miserable sleeping that night, and I'd feel miserable the next day. And how miserable I felt, what made me go is like, hey, we're not doing that again. So we're back on track to this thing.
Right.
And then again, we do this again at the end of the week. So my theory behind it is when you start consuming good foods and treating your body well, you've created a good gut biome that when you do introduce bad foods,
it's like rejects
your
it
body's
almost.
like, what is this?
Yeah.
What is this crap? Like, I'm pretty sure if you and I just took a gallon of like bleach, our body would probably throw it up. Be like, what is this poison? Mm-hmm. So
yeah, I agree with that. I think when you've trained your body so well, like if you don't know, if you've just been eating terribly your whole life, it's almost like you don't know how good you can feel. Mm-hmm. That's just how you're living your life. And then when you do eat clean and you go back to that, it's like, that my stomach does not like that. Yeah. Everything's such a trained
it's a trained thing. If you've always been eating, and you remember when we were married in the first couple of years, I would eat Buffalo Wild Wings, with habanero sauce, and I would like scuff that stuff down. Yeah. And it'd be great. It'd be amazing. And then once I started eating clean, you give me 3 Buffalo Wild Wings in a habanero sauce before bed, Daddy's not sleeping. Daddy's not
Daddy's going to be sweating bullets.
Daddy's sweating bullets. Daddy's going to be multiple passes
on the toilet.
Bathroom, yes. And it's like your body's way of saying, and so I don't even think that's an age thing. I think it's like we slowly tweak it.
It is age, But maybe for the people who have just been eating so terribly, it's a more like they feel fine, and then they just like are done and die.
Done and done. Multi-system organ failure.
Like, yeah.
That's so dark if you say.
But it's like if you're eating that bad,
yeah,
there has to be a point where you start feeling terrible with age. There has to be.
But I think the excuse is always like, oh, that's just heartburn. I'm going to take a Tums.
Oh, maybe. They just add more things to the body.
Supplements or medication that the doctor gives. Antihistamines.
All the things,
sleep
They're
aid.
just like masking the symptoms.
I think so, too.
Yeah, I think so, too. I think, it makes total sense to me. When I eat great, I feel great, and then. But then I have like pizza, and I'm like. Oh.
And then you go, guess what we're doing tomorrow? We're running tomorrow.
We're going, and then it forces you to like want to try harder and not, and work it off the next day.
Right. Yeah. No, it's
2 slices. That's
I just think
4 miles.
when it's paired when it's paired with like a few years of clean living to you getting older, I think things change more drastically. Mm-hmm. Right. So now it's like, oh, we used to be able to just avoid starchy carbs, drink plenty of water, exercise 5 days a week, and then have beer, cider here and there. To now it's like, hey, you can't have beer and cider anymore because you're getting older.
So it's going to be the next thing.
Your body's less tolerant. I will put my money on this. There will be a time where you and I be like,
can't do
cut
sushi.
down on, well, I don't know, can't do sushi. Come on now. Well, I think we'll do like,
we do sushi like once a week.
We'll end up like splitting a roll.
Yeah, that's what my parents do. They split meals now because they can't eat as much, which is so interesting.
And it's funny because your dad doesn't eat clean. So that's the thing.
He just doesn't eat a lot.
He just doesn't eat a lot. I don't get it. And he's got a big dad belly.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not a fat guy. He's got
the belly.
He's got the belly. But here's the thing. I worked with your dad, so I know how he eats. And I see him. So he doesn't, I mean, for lunch, he'll go get a burger or something like that. But he can't have Coke anymore because of his heart condition. But he doesn't really pig out. But when they're with your mom and dad, like when they'll go to a restaurant, like they'll split a meal.
They'll split a meal and then like barely finish it. I'm like, I can eat that whole thing myself.
Seriously. So, yeah.
Just kind of like pick at it.
So I think I do anticipate us doing that. And I anticipate us.
It's coming.
Yeah. I'm already going back to like, hey, how about we just go back to like red wine? Because you'll just go to sleep.
Oh, after drinking
the problem is like if you have like, if you go like, hey, let's have like bourbon instead of like beer because it's like less sugar and alcohol content. The problem is it's not alcohol content, but like less sugar. The problem that ends up happening is bourbon is it's higher alcohol percentage, but it gets you more. I want to use the word is like aroused, right? More of like alert. Maybe like like the old saying when we used to be younger, like if you were day drinking and it's towards the evening, like just rally, so have another drink and therefore you're more awake, right? So bourbon does that to you. And so you have 1 or 2 glasses of bourbon, and then when you hit that second glass, your body goes, hey, let's have another glass of bourbon, right? And then now the other part of your body goes like, hey, but you're not going to be sleeping.
Yeah.
And so like, but you're already going like the other part of your brain.
You got that little angel and devil on your shoulder.
There's actually a stand-up comedian back in the early 2000s, late 90s, and he had this fantastic comedic bit when he was talking about like alcohol and the party that's happening in your stomach, and there's a bouncer, right? So your stomach has a bouncer, which is that closing sphincter that keeps you from throwing up, right? And so he goes like, beer shows up. Hey, I heard we're like, and so he does his impersonation. I don't want to ruin it, but he goes, oh, you guys have a party? Can we come in? He's like, hey, okay, but hey, just keep it down, right? So the beer, we'll keep it down. So beers are hanging out there, and then somebody knocks the door, like, whiskey's here, like, hey guys, listen, the bouncer's talking to the whiskey. Hey guys, listen, I'd love to have you in, but listen, you guys get rowdy. He goes, no, we'll be fine, we'll just have a few of my buddies are gonna come in, a few of us are gonna be here. He goes, okay, but listen, one of you gets out of hand, you're going out. He goes, all right, well, they come in, party's going on, everything's good time, and guess who shows up? Tequila. And so he starts expanding on this thing, but it was just the most hilarious thing in the world.
That is funny.
So that's what bourbon does. It's like you have wine, you're like, oh, I'm on wine. You have a second
wine. That's
wine.
why they say whiskey makes you frisky.
Yeah, and then exactly right. And then you have the second one. You're like, oh, well, let's just have another one because like we're awake and we're alert now. But with the red wine, I did this experiment this week. I was like, I'm just gonna have. So I'm done working. I helped Jack fix this, work on a switch, and we'll have cocktail hour before dinner, and I was like, I'll pour myself a glass of red wine. Pour myself a glass of red wine. I've yawned in a matter of an hour, probably like 78 times. And
you're like, I think I'm gonna go to bed after this.
I was like, I'm gonna go to bed. And so then you whipped out the sparkling wine for yourself, and I was like, let me have a glass of that. And then that woke me up again. I was like, whoa, there's like things are doing things to your body, you know.
Yeah.
So
that's one thing I don't think I can give up.
Sparkling
wine. Prosecco.
That's fine. It's just I think
I only have like a couple of glasses.
So that was another thing. Is like sugar content. Like that's the one thing I realized.
Sugar.
What sugar does to our bodies now. So
it's worse than anything.
Well, medically, they've already proven that sugar is like one of the most destructive things to our body already, right? Like it's huge. But I've noticed that with me is sugar truly does affect the way I sleep and the way I feel the next day.
Oh yeah.
And so
1,000%. It's crazy because I never you don't think about that as growing up, even like in my 20s. I'm like, oh, I'll just have this and this and this, and then just seeing how, like, if you think back to your day, how much sugar you've consumed.
Not to mention the
even
hidden
in
sugars.
And like condiments and dressings and things like that. It is insane.
Mm-hmm. Let alone what you do by giving up. Let alone what you would do by just giving up like a dessert. Or
right.
Like that.
Yeah.
So I got on those 1 bars, which is how many grams of sugar is in them?
Like
one or two.
Yeah.
I think it is 1 because it's the selling pitch is
1
bar.
1 bar. Oh yes, you're right. Are the Built bars the same? Because I like those better.
I don't know. We'll have to look at it.
But I think it's about the same, like 1 or 2.
But to be completely honest with you, I remember when you and I did Dry January last year. And
this year.
This year, the beginning of this year, yes. So we did 4 weeks of no alcohol, clean eating, but basically it was like a fitness competition, measure your body fat and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And the biggest problem you had was you wanted and I quote, I just want like 1 glass of wine or something like that. And then sugar was a big thing for you.
Yeah, because it's not like I have a lot of it, but after dinner, I always want something sweet. Mm-hmm. And so I always wanted like even just like a little piece of chocolate. But it's like I don't, chocolate still has tons of sugar in it. Yeah. So then we got on the 1 bars. And
it quenches
it does. Yeah,
it quenches a lot.
Some of them I really don't like the flavor. Like the birthday cake one is not good. There's another one that I don't like, but the chocolate chip cookie dough one is
that
good.
was great. And listen, I feel great. Like I don't ever feel like...
Because you don't feel like it's,
Now, if you put cheesecake in my fridge, Daddy's going to have a hard time avoiding that refrigerator.
You did not eat the last cheesecake we had in the fridge.
Can I tell you what the secret was?
You hid it in the back?
I forgot there was cheesecake.
Remember that really good one I got from the co-op? It was sitting in the fridge for like a week, and finally the boys ate it.
Did they eat it? Thank God. There's so many times.
I actually forgot about it too.
I have, when I wrestle with myself about having something, sometimes I have this like moment of clarity for like 5 seconds, and that's the 5 seconds that it needs to be thrown into like the trash. Or I've had this.
It's sad.
You know what the hardest one for me? And this is not sugar related. Oh man, this destroys me. This is a struggle. Is middle of the day or lunchtime, we're filming with Kyle or something, and either the nanny or you or whoever makes the boys those pizza pockets.
Oh yeah.
And they're just sitting on that tray, and they are just got out of the oven. They're just
so
cooling down, and the boys aren't going to finish them all.
They do though. They love those.
I could right now. It's so early already in the day. Like I could scuff a 20-pack right now.
Yeah.
Easily. I wouldn't even look an eye, and I'm going to feel miserable.
I think those are gluten-free, so if you want.
Yeah, but they're still going to destroy my stomach.
I know, I'm kidding.
I've been in situations where I've eaten one because the boys were done. They didn't want any.
And one will be fine. If you have one, you'll...
And you know what I do with the rest of the 6 that's in the plate? I'll flood it with water in the sink.
Why don't you just put it back on the tray, on the pan?
Because I'll come back and eat it.
Wasting food.
I'm weak. I wish I need some kind of brain surgery. Somebody be like, "Hey, no, I'm done with that. I'm done. Thank you,
but I'm okay.
I'm thinking, but I'm okay. Yeah, I'm thinking, okay.
I'm good.
I've trained my body to do this thing.
My body's a temple. Have you seen?
Oh my gosh,
Well, this is making me hungry.
I'm very hungry right now.
I need to go. We need to eat lunch before we head out.
All right, folks.
It's kind of weird recording so early in the morning.
Yeah, well, priorities.
Priorities.
We're going to head out on a camping trip with the family here. Make sure you guys have checked out the last video that Irina debuted in. We built our first thing together as a couple, and that was a water feature, and we had a lot of fun, a lot of good, positive
Nothing
feedback.
broke. Did not break anything. Did not break myself.
You did not break yourself. The most important part. You were
No broken bones and no.
Didn't catch any.
The other day I did step on a nail though in the other project we're doing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
got close.
Oof. I'm gonna
Oof.
have liability insurance here
Yeah.
for you. All right, folks. Make sure you follow us on all of our platforms. Share, like this podcast, and we'll see you next
Rate
time.
and review.
Yeah. Thanks. Wow. Look at you go.
I know.
Call to actions. All right. Bye.
Call to action.